Today I'd like to talk a bit about work-life balance. Certainly if you saw my GDC talk, I worked a lot during the development of Retrograde. I did the math and I think I averaged about 80 hours a week for 4 years. And before that, I worked at High Impact Games, and I think I did the math and I worked close to 60 hours a week on average. And it was particularly rough because the way my work schedule worked, it was basically like 40 hours a week at the beginning of the project and then 80 hours a week at the end of the project, and split about 50-50, which I imagine if you're in game development, you've worked 80 hours a week, and it's tough. I mean, I don't even know how I was able to do it for so many years, because like at this point it's difficult. I mean, I'm working, I don't know, maybe 50 hours a week, and it's tough to think about working more. Although on the other hand, it's like I feel like I have all these things to get done, and it'd be great if I would be working more. But certainly, I'm trying to stick to 40 hours a week, because I want to spend time with my wife. I didn't spend very much time at all with my wife for the first part of our marriage, and I mean, even still, I feel like newlyweds, and I mean, we're going to be celebrating our third anniversary soon, and it's weird. It's definitely weird, and I really don't know where I stand on the whole work-life balance as far as what's the right thing to do, because many people say that you do much better work if you work 40 hours a week. And I agree that for the 40 hours a week you're working, your output is definitely higher than when you start to work on crunching, and you're running on fumes. But I don't know if I reach the point of diminishing returns. I mean, other than when I've worked, say, 30 hours straight, like I can barely function at the end of that. And well, it was funny, there was this joke about how I had done some of my best work after doing a really long stretch on Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. We had this little butterfly, and the butterfly was animated with 11 bones. I don't know. It's very excessive for a butterfly. So anyway, I worked through the night trying to get the performance up, and so I had replaced the butterfly with basically like 2 cards that did this. So it went from 11 bones and I don't know how many vertices to 4 polygons, and so like everyone's like, oh, it looks really good, oh, that's really cool. But I mean, it was definitely tough working through the night, and in the morning I was not doing that good of quality of work. But definitely I like the idea of only working 40 hours a week, and I like spending time with my wife. And I think for me, at my age, I've been doing this for 10 years, the allure of working really long hours is wearing out. Like, certainly I felt really cool working through the night and putting together this butterfly, and really putting together a good level for Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. And then when I first started in the industry back in 2003, I loved working overtime. It was great. I felt like, oh, I'm finally making a game, a real game, and oh, this is gonna be great. And certainly the game didn't turn out very good. That was on The Incredibles. And certainly I began to see that overtime and crunching is not necessarily, well, necessary. It's not necessary, and it's often due to project management problems. And I think, in general, a lot of game development companies suffer from poor project management. And so I think if you're going to be working overtime, you should ask yourself, is this what I want to be doing? And is this necessary? Am I really just picking up the slack because a bad decision was sort of handed down from above? And I mean, certainly there's times when you want to work overtime and there's times when you don't, and at least in my experience working in AAA space and even in the indie space, there's times when you have to work overtime. But I think, at least for me, now that I'm married and now that I'm getting older, and certainly I'm interested in starting a family, that work-life balance is really important to me. And I think as the industry matures, as game developers get older, I think that will hopefully change for the better. And then certainly, there was the whole EA spouse thing, and theoretically things have gotten better since then. But I mean, at least in my own experience, the only thing that got better after EA spouse was I got paid for overtime, which I mean was great, and I was able to self-fund a lot of retrograde from all my numerous overtime hours. But is it the best thing to do? And certainly I felt like it was the best thing to do then, at that point in my life, and I did enjoy working long hours. But getting old, I guess maybe it's a sign I'm maturing as a person, as a game developer. I don't know, something to think about when you're going to be taking a job that has a lot of hours, or you're crunching your butt off.